Hello everyone and welcome back to the Saints View, the channel for Southampton content. And today we're going to be looking ahead to Tuesday night's game up at Leicester in the Carabao Cup 4th round. Now obviously since I last spoke to you, we've had a game in the league and we'll go into that shortly. But it seems like fans are quite mixed on whether this would be a good distraction or really we need to be focusing on the league, because obviously it has been dreadful so far. Another loss, this time at Fulham, who fellow strugglers. They've moved off the bottom of the table. We're still somehow out of the relegation zone. But obviously, let's look away from that. That could have been Mark Hughes' last game. As I'm filming this, Mark Hughes is still currently Southampton manager. But do we need another cup run? I'm not too sure. I think it might be a nice distraction. It might be a good chance to play some of the players who haven't really been in the side. Mind you, we've had a good bit of rotation actually this year so far. But the likes of Angus Gunn getting another game in goal, and also I'm seeing this as a good chance for Obafemi to finally start a game and prove that he could actually be starting in the Premier League for us. Obviously we would have played Leicester a couple of weeks ago. The tragic news of that helicopter disaster that saw the death of their owner and chairman, Kun Vichai. Hopefully there are some really nice tributes on Tuesday night. But I think this game is pretty much a one-off. No one knows what's going to happen. I think both sides are in, well, obviously Leicester are doing a lot better than we are. They've had a couple of draws of late. But I don't think league form is actually going to affect this game. I think this is just going to be a game where you put two teams out, 22 men, and just see what happens. And that's kind of been what has been going on with our current cup run. Obviously started off at Brighton, pretty even game for the most part. Took our chance at the end with Austin's header, went through. Everton, I felt that was actually overall a very good performance. Could have scored a couple more. Obviously conceded late on, had to go to penalties, but we managed to go through the shootout away at Goodison Park as well. So that was a massive credit to the players. But it's deja vu all over again. You know, we had the cup run in the FA Cup last year, whilst we were really in the deep end of the Premier League table, and we thought, oh, potentially these wins in the cup may be influencing our league form, and we may actually go away from this struggle. It didn't happen, and it seems to be the same now. Two wins, two advancements in the cup, and that hasn't improved our league form at all. In fact, it's probably worsened whilst we've had the cup run. Obviously that's not because of the cup run, but sort of if you compare the two. Obviously fans always like a cup run, you know. It'd be nice to go through. We're not going to go any further than the quarterfinals. The winner of the tie plays Man City at home, sort of December time, just before actually they're due to come to St Mary's in the league. So we'd probably be sick of the sight of Manchester City by New Year. Now, obviously, this is a cup game. I've already said I don't think league form is really going to affect what happens in this game. I think obviously we know Claude Puel loves to rotate. I'd imagine he'd be rotating as well. And if Mark Hughes is in charge of this game, I think we may see a few alterations, because for him, if he's going to be staying on for the next couple of weeks, he needs to work out the players that are going to stick for him. If I was going to think of some players that I would be putting into the side, obviously I'm not going to do an exact preferred 11, but I think definitely Angus Gunn, he should be coming in. You know, excellent in both of the previous cup games. I'm not saying McCarthy hasn't been good, of course, but I think this is a cup game, you know, beforehand Gunn has been put in. Why would we change that? I also think this is a really good opportunity for Yannick Vestergaard. He was dropped after the Wolves game, so he hasn't seen action for almost 2 months, really. He's been sat on the bench. Somehow Wesley Hood has taken his place. I think this is a perfect opportunity for Vestergaard to prove that he's better than Hood and should be starting in the Premier League. You know, big game against Manchester United at home on Saturday. We need a solid defence for that game. And if Vestergaard can put in a good shift, then maybe he should be replacing Hood for that game in the league. I also think, like I've said before, Obafemi should be starting this one. He's been on the bench, made a couple cameo appearances so far, but that's what angers me about Hughes. They've been about 5 minutes, and in those 5 minutes, especially at Fulham, he made more of an impact than Charlie Austin did for, what was it, 70, 80 minutes. So obviously I understand why he's not starting in the league. That's fair enough. You know, he's 18, he's young, he's a raw talent. But I think this is the perfect opportunity to give him, even not necessarily a full game, 70 minutes. I think that'd be perfect for him just to show what he can do and give him an actual chance. He's been fantastic for the under-23s, banging them in, and I think we need to see a bit of that, a bit of confidence in our side up front. I'd also expect some of these usual suspects to come in, so I guess Matt Target will probably play again. I think there's a possibility that we play Jack Stevens out on the right as right back, but you know, we played Cedric against Everton. I would imagine that would probably be the same situation, as we don't really have genuine cover for that right back position. I'd also expect Oriol Romeu to come in. He hasn't been playing in the league of late, because actually Højbjerg and Lemina's form has actually been pretty good despite the poor results. But then I'd also like to see someone like Elyounoussi be given a start. He hasn't really lived up to the standards yet this season. Made a few appearances off the bench recently. He was starting games, but Armstrong replaced him, and obviously Armstrong got a brace at Fulham, so rightly so. But I think this is a good game for players who really haven't pulled their finger out to really put a good shift in. As for Leicester, obviously I've said before, I don't think league form is going to affect this game, but we can get a bit of insight from Boya. I'll leave his Twitter in the link in the description below. He's part of the 100% LCFC team, so do subscribe to his personal channel.
So guys, in terms of the Carabao Cup last 16 on Tuesday between Leicester and Southampton at the King Power, so how did Leicester get to this stage? So we beat Fleetwood 4-0, which is was a very comfortable match, as you would expect, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And then in the last game, we beat Wolves in a 0-0 draw that went to penalties, and Danny Ward saved 3 of 5 penalties, I believe, which obviously very, very good performance from him in the shootout. But in terms of Claude Puel, he's taking this competition relatively seriously with the players that he's picking. He's picking a lot of fringe players who are around the first team squad for the Premier League and giving them opportunities. So I'm expecting to see players like Adrian Silva, Siunku, Christian Fuchs, Iheanacho, those kind of players, but won't be seeing Maddison because he got a stupid red card against Brighton, which don't even get me started on, otherwise I might just start raging right here. But I'm glad that Puel is taking this competition seriously, because I don't think we're going to push for Europe this year, so why not have a good cup run? But in terms of Leicester's general form, it's 4 games unbeaten now, so I'm relatively confident that we'll be able to get the result on Tuesday. We drew yesterday against Brighton, we beat Cardiff and then drew 0-0 with Burnley, which we realistically should have won, and then we drew 1-1 with West Ham, which was a frustrating game, to be honest. But I'm quite confident, but I still know Southampton have got players that will be able to hurt us.
Okay, thanks for that. That's really interesting actually to see what might be coming up in terms of the Leicester side of things. It's a one-off game. I really don't think it matters. I think what matters is that we really put a performance in against Manchester United on Saturday. They're underachieving massively, their confidence is low, they're not really scoring goals either, so if we could put in a solid shift, we could nick something. I'm not saying a win, I think we could definitely go for a draw though in that game, but you know, everyone likes the cup run, but I guess one of the benefits of playing this game later, well after all the other 4th round ties were played, we actually know who we're going to be playing. So the fact that we know that it's a home tie against Manchester City, if we beat Leicester, it doesn't really matter. I think obviously the most pessimistic fans never want to lose, so another loss, even if it's in the cup when it's an insignificant game, really obviously we'll just be angry again. But I think if we don't go through in this game, it's not the end of the world. All I care about really is seeing performances from some of the players who haven't been getting into the team, and then it can give whoever is in charge of the team a bit of a headache in terms of selection. Well, thank you very much for watching, guys. Do remember to subscribe. We're nearing 100 subscribers. We've been here for almost a month, and to have 100 subscribers in that first month would be a fantastic little achievement and a little milestone. But until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you very soon.